Awesome. We are live on LinkedIn and YouTube. I am just waiting for Facebook to recognize my StreamYard link. There we go. And we should be live in my group. Give me 1 second, everybody. I'm going to double check. You know how the tech is around here. Okay, I see us live in the group. Awesome. You guys, I am so excited for today. Happy Friday Eve day to everybody. You guys know how I do things around here using StreamYard on my laptop. I've got us live in my Facebook group, my YouTube channel, and over on LinkedIn. YouTubers, smash the subscribe button so you never miss one of my videos. And LinkedIn folks, hit the bell next to my name on my profile so that we can stay connected. Today, I'm really excited. You guys are going to get to meet my friend Lisa Haggis, and she's going to clear up some fog for us today. Because when I say the words thought leadership and branding, do you even know what those really mean? Because here's the thing, I don't feel like I do. But today, that's going to change. She is here to save us from ourselves, or save me from myself, if you already know what those mean, because she's going to help us define both of these things. And not only that, tell us how we can use these things, thought leadership and branding, to become the go-to experts in our space. But first, just in case we are brand new to each other, I am Tracy Beavers. I'm an award-winning business and sales coach with over 20 years of experience in marketing, sales, and business growth. And several years ago, about 7 years ago, as a matter of fact, I became finally completely fed up with my corporate career. It felt like a jacket that was 2 sizes too small, and I hatched a plan to fully exit. And let me share with you that once I did fully exit and I was able to be super intentional about my business, in my second full year of business as a business coach, I busted through the 6-figure ceiling and I have not looked back. And I share that with you because if you are building your business alongside your full-time job, wanting to exit like I did, or maybe you've already ditched the corporate career and you never want to go back, you can do this. If I can do it, you can do it. I teach all organic visibility and list growth strategies, and I've coached hundreds of entrepreneurs just like you to get visible, grow your email lists so you can get that consistent monthly income that you really, really want. And I'm just going to double check one thing. Oh, yeah, good. We're live. I just never know about the tech around here. So I want you guys to pop your questions and comments into the chat for us as we go along. And if you are watching or listening on replay, comment with your question. We will swoop in and answer it for you. I want to introduce my friend Lisa Haggis. You are going to love her as much as I do. She is a brand architect. I love that word. And she's a business mentor. And she's cracked the code on what it takes to build an authentically interesting business. I love the word authentic. You guys know that. And this is even if you are not the loudest or the coolest person in the room. I think all the introverts just sat up straight, right? As the founder of Realize Your Brand, she leverages her proprietary substantial branding methodology and over 20 years of experience. 20 years of experience, did y'all hear that? To help service experts just like us position ourselves as one of a kind in our industry. So we get that higher visibility, we get that higher impact, and we get that higher earning potential. And I love to share a fun fact about our guests. Here's what Lisa said when I asked her this question. She said her first job was as a dance teacher, and her first business idea was LHDA, Lisa Haggis Dance Academy. I love that. I love that. Lisa, welcome in. Tell us, what age did you start that? How long did you have the Dance Academy? Give us the scoop on that.
Well, I danced as a child and young teen, and I had a little duotang that had LHDA written in blue pen on the cover.
I love it.
And when you opened it up, this is just to show you how my brain works. The first thing you saw was a floor plan of how the studio would be designed.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next page was a whole bunch of logos made out of clip art.
That is outstanding.
And then there might have been one other page in the duotang. I think it might have been like something I downloaded with like ballet stances or something. But I seriously wanted to be a dance teacher, own my own studio, and it didn't end up happening. So it's a bit of a lost dream, but I still love dance very, very much.
I love that. That's so cool. Isn't it fun how we have these inklings of entrepreneurship like sometimes our whole lives, and then we end up doing something like what you and I are doing. We service people in the online space.
Mhm.
All right, so let's dive into this foggy, cloudy kind of stuff. At least I'm foggy and cloudy on it. Thought leadership and branding. I want you to explain to us, tell us a little bit about why these topics matter to you, and more importantly, why should they matter to our listeners? Um, how do we define these things? Because they seem kind of high level and general to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go back. So I think I can answer both in one go, kind of. I'm
Okay.
gonna try. So I want to share why I do this.
Yeah.
So as you mentioned, I have over 20 years of experience now in kind of the marketing and branding space, and I really started out in marketing.
Uh huh.
And so what happened was I was doing websites, campaigns, copy, etc., strategies for businesses and companies that like truly didn't have anything special about them. Like, and so as a
Okay.
marketer, when you have to try to promote a company that is like everyone else,
Uh huh.
it's very stressful for one
Yes.
thing, but also it has you leaning on gimmicks
Yeah.
and, or exaggerating the truth or making stuff
Mhm.
up in order to please your client.
Yeah.
And really, the truth is they should have a business that's worth mentioning before you're ever even worrying about the promotional piece, the marketing piece.
Got it.
And so after about 10 years in marketing, having really bought into, the idea of brand being that fundamental piece that makes all the difference
Mhm.
in how you stand out and truly being unique as a company so that your marketing can be easy,
Mhm.
I took the leap out onto my own. And I shifted from calling myself or from being a marketing person to calling myself a brand strategist.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
and that was the moment that I kind of like, because I was doing it in the pursuit of authentically interesting businesses, because I
Mhm.
I wanted to kind of get to the core with a business so that the decisions they made early on led them to being truly unique and original as a business so that their marketing could be just telling the truth.
Mhm.
And so that's why I did this, was because I believe so your brand is really just the idea of who you are that
Okay.
others hold in their mind.
Okay.
And so it's very, very tightly interconnected with marketing because
Yeah.
the marketing people are bringing the brand to life.
Right.
So the strategy at the core is kind of the brand decisions, and then the marketing people are bringing that brand to life by putting
Okay.
it into content, putting it on the website, putting it, you know, um, into various campaigns and emails and things like that. So they have to exist together. But
Got
the
it.
marketing side really depends on the branding side doing their job right,
Yes, that
in
makes sense.
order for it to matter. And so to kind of sum all that up, I stepped into this world so that businesses could make the right decisions in those early stages so that the
Uh-huh.
marketing can be easy and authentic. But when I did that, I had to figure out how to do it.
Right.
This was 14 years ago. And really, like, branding as a small business discipline was
Right.
pretty non existent. It was still very much branding was a logo and the visuals.
Right.
And so I had to crack my own code on, like, how do I actually help any business
Uh-huh.
stand out authentically? And I started out pretty much like all branding people, focusing on personality because
Yes.
that is what we see. So, and I did a lot of my own kind of internal, reflections, trying to find what made me interesting.
Right.
But I really hit a wall where I realized there's limits to personality as being the basis for your brand.
Interesting.
And I never would have seen that if I had been a kind of extrovert or a vibrant, bold personality that easily gained attention through my charisma.
Uh-huh.
Um, But because I'm not really that person, and I certainly wasn't back then,
Mhm.
I had to find a better way. And what I landed on was thought leadership. And the way I got there was, really long story short, through the show All on the Line,
Okay.
with which was a fashion show with
Uh-huh.
Joe Z, where he helped fashion designers set themselves apart. And he always
Interesting.
used this phrase, like, "What's your point of view? What's your point of view?" And
Okay.
it just clicked for me. I was like, point of view is how fashion designers set themselves apart. It's how artists set themselves apart.
Mhm.
Why not service providers? And
Interesting.
so that's how I kind of came upon it. That's why I care about it. And I've been
Mhm.
applying it with clients for probably about 12 years now. It took me about
Mhm.
2 years of business experimentation to land into this methodology. And I've seen it work for every single kind of business owner. No matter who you are,
Right.
you can have a unique point of view, which is why it is so powerful.
That's really cool. So basically thought leadership is just your point of view as a person.
Exactly.
And
And
then
being
your
willing to share it.
and then your brand is the way you voice that point of view?
Yeah. So your brand, so I guess the way I would word it is like, the thought leadership is the part of your brand that sets you apart.
Got it.
So there's more to brand than just, so my substantial branding methodology is actually three components to a brand.
Mhm.
So a good brand has meaning, which is the heart, has
Mhm.
value, which is your traditional marketing promise,
Okay.
transformation, and then
Right.
it has originality, which is how you set yourself apart.
Okay.
And
Got it.
the thought leadership is really the key to the originality part. So that's kind of the how that all fits together.
Yeah, I think that's really, really helpful. I know now I have a better visual picture of how all those fit together. So that I appreciate that so much walking us through that. Can you give us some examples? I always love examples, and I know my audience does too. What are some examples of some small businesses that are using thought leadership to set themselves apart? I mean, how are they doing that?
Yeah. Well, I have some client examples, but first I just saw one as I was about to jump on. And so what I encourage everybody to do is look at the Facebook ads that get your attention.
Okay.
You're going to notice that this is 100% what the strongest Facebook ads are using to get your
Mhm.
attention. So
Okay.
one of the ones that just really stands out for me is, it, there's a course called Hips Like Honey. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I have not, but now I'm gonna have to go look it
I
up,
get
and everybody else
I
is
get it
too.
in my ad feed all the time. And the reason it catches my attention is because A, I have tight hips.
Me too. Me too.
Um, and as a forward dancer, I hate that. I want
Yes.
hips like honey.
You want hips that don't lie.
I want them to not never stop. Um, and but so this ad, what she does is right away she tells you that the source of your tight hips is your emotions.
I have heard that before, and I am over here trying to release my emotions, and it's not working. So evidently, I'm not.
That's why you
I
have to
need.
buy the program.
I need hips like
Um,
honey.
but this is what I'm talking about. It's,
Mhm.
like, she doesn't say, "Let's fix your tight hips."
Right.
She says, "The source of your tight hips is your emotions." And all of a
Mm.
sudden, what she's done is she's taken what you thought
Mhm.
was the cause of your problem, and
Mhm.
therefore would kind of lead you down a certain path to what the answer would be.
Mhm.
And she's turned it on its head. And she said, "That's not the real cause. The real cause is your emotions, which means the real answer is to release those stored emotions."
Wow.
And then all of a sudden you're like, I need her program
Right.
because now I understand something about my problem I didn't understand before.
Right. Because she's sharing her point of view and being a thought leader by expressing her point of view, which is different than everybody else's. And that's how
Well,
she's setting herself
exactly.
apart.
Yeah. And like the thing is, there's different, like, this is an approach where she has access to some emerging science that isn't common knowledge yet or isn't mainstream yet. And that's
Uh-huh.
definitely like a really great source of thought leadership. But
Yeah.
it can be other things too. Like it doesn't have to be a new, like that you're on the cutting edge of science or something like that. It could be just a shift in perspective or point of view that is unique to you as well.
Mhm.
So another example would be my client Carrie, who's an interior designer, and her clients are commercial. So she does commercial interior design
Right.
where like, uh, restaurants and things like that, where you really need people to love
Uh-huh.
your like the experience in the space. And so what
Right.
we came up kind of as a tagline for a brand was design for the love of people.
Ooh,
And
that's good.
yeah, and you can already hear in that it's
Uh-huh.
bold, it's brave, like it scared the
Mhm.
heck out of her
Yeah.
to step into that. And but like we there's more messaging around it, like the brand promise is really
Mhm.
to build spaces people notice and love. But her thought leadership was, if you want to build a space that people notice and love, you first have to notice and love the people.
Oh, that's so good.
Do you see, like, and like, so this is what I want to underscore is like,
That's so
so
good.
many small business owners are afraid of sounding salesy
Yeah,
when they
this is
start
true.
putting themselves out there.
Yep. Mhm.
This is how you prevent that, is you lead with these like powerful bits of education
Mhm.
or even just getting them thinking,
Mhm.
and you've just slid under you've slid under their sales radar,
Mhm.
because there's nothing salesy about getting people thinking. They
Right.
love it,
Right.
they resonate with it, and you're actually helping them. And
Right.
then when you follow that up with a promise,
Uh-huh.
they're just waiting for it. They're like,
Right.
yes, I want that because now I know why it'll help me.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So, how can our listeners uncover I'm so sorry. I don't know why I have that alarm going off. That's interesting. Um, how can now I'm wondering what I'm missing. How can how can our listeners uncover their own unique point of view like that, where it's the hips like honey or it's the buildings how did you phrase it? Building spaces for
People
the love
notice and love. Yeah, so for
yeah,
the
people
love of people. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for the love of people.
Yeah.
How do our listeners uncover that for themselves and have that fresh perspective?
Yeah, well, I have a lot of kind of roads to getting to it.
Uh-huh.
Um, I'll pick a couple. Like one of the
Yes.
ones, the first thing I want to say is, um, there's a level of this that you are definitely taking for granted as an
Okay.
expert. So, like if you're in the field of, like, if saying you're an herbalist or something like that,
Uh-huh.
the first level is really making a case for your craft in the first place,
Okay.
because we don't think to do that. So if,
Right.
like, even if you're a life coach,
Mhm.
that your first step is, why does the world need life coaches?
Okay.
Like, can you make an argument for why what you do changes lives,
Right. Uh-huh.
why it's needed now in the world as well is
Mhm.
a really good one. Like, why is it needed now more than ever?
Right.
So like herbs, for example, I have a client who's an herbalist, and one of her things is like herbs aren't actually optional. They're part of core nutrition that
Wow.
our body needs.
Wow.
And like, that's so simple, right? And
It
she
is.
like she knows that because she's done the training and the education.
Yeah.
Like, and all of our ancestors got those herbs, but
Right.
we've like completely forgotten about them. But then she can also layer in like something that's a little bit more relevant to our time, like, and our food quality is going down, 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 down. And
Right.
so you can see how what she's doing is she's starting to build your like a case for why you should care about this
Right.
answer that she has to bring to the table. So,
Interesting.
can you do that for your own craft? Like, can I do that for branding? Can you
Mhm.
do that for marketing or online marketing specifically, or
Mhm.
visibility? So, looking
Mhm.
at all the things that you are kind of telling people they should be doing
Right.
and figuring out your argument for why they should be doing it.
Interesting. That is so interesting. Okay. I think we just are blowing some minds here. I'm looking at the chat and there's so many great aha moments going on for people. That's really, really cool. Because I think it's difficult to do these things for ourselves. It's hard for me to write my own copy. It
Mhm.
so I that's where having somebody like you to come alongside me and say, okay, Tracy, that is your thought leadership, and helping me recognize my point of view because sometimes I don't think we can see it for ourselves. Do you hear that a lot from your clients?
Oh, absolutely. Like, and it is true. Like, I'm just closing Facebook because it it was dinging on me there. Um, when I work with clients, I can see and hear things in what they're
Mhm.
saying that they are completely taking for granted.
Exactly.
As
Yes.
if you're an expert and you've been doing what you do for a long time,
Mhm.
it's really hard to know what others need to hear.
Yes.
And so that's something that that's something I've developed over time. I really have an ear for it. And like right away I could say, that's a thing, that's a thing, that's a
Yeah.
thing.
I love
And
it.
they really can't. And we often think that we need to be way more brilliant than we do.
Oh, yes. We think it has to have sparklers and fireworks attached to it or it's not going to be any good.
That's
Yep.
right. Yeah.
Yep.
But really, like, the another way to look at it is what you're really trying to do is shift their perspective again from what they thought the cause was of their
Right.
problem to
Mhm.
the real cause. So that's another
Mhm.
prompt you can ask yourself is like, essentially, what are they like? Why haven't they yet solved their problem?
Okay.
And what you could look at is it's probably because they don't understand the real cause of their problem.
Okay. That is definitely something for us to think about for sure.
Mhm.
Okay, let me ask you this. Are there any ways we can screw this up? Like, are there any ways that people could go wrong with thought leadership or like, I mean, really just get it
Yeah.
wrong and make a big mistake?
Yeah. Well, one of the things I always say is truly the only way you can ever screw anything up is by not being authentic.
Mhm.
And so, like, if this is something that, like, allow this to take time if it needs to
Mm.
take time. Like,
Yeah.
if you're completely new in your field, I would prefer that you take some time to really get comfortable and build up actual expertise before you
Yeah.
feel like you need to go out there and start mic dropping all over the place. So it's totally okay to build up into this and don't
Uh-huh.
force it because if you force it, you may end up stepping outside of what's true for
Right.
you.
Right.
And kind of
Interesting.
similarly to that is like when you hear thought leadership, you could think that it's all about what you have to say
Mhm.
and teaching and talking. But
Mhm.
the truth is, a real thought leader is as much a student and a listener as they are a teacher and a talker.
Interesting.
And so if you like by saying I'm going to be a thought leader, I totally get that that can feel a little cringy.
Yes.
Um, and but I think that if you recognize what you're really doing is you're
Mhm.
choosing to be an authority, and part of that is that you are committing to essentially like a life of learning in your
Mhm.
craft so that you have things to say, so that you have things to teach. Like I can be like I'm pretty obsessed with what I do. And so that obsession leads me to, ripping up new stones and
Yeah.
finding new and like challenging everything. And that's really what you need to be.
Okay.
And so don't get comfortable just saying the same things that based on
Mhm.
your knowledge now. Pursue higher knowledge of your craft and
Okay.
your industry and your people.
Uh-huh.
Like learn from your people, test it with people.
Mhm.
That's to me, that's what it takes to truly be a thought leader.
Nice. I like that. I like that so much, and I love the conversation around you don't have to be the loudest person in the room. You don't have to be an extrovert like me, because I think a lot of times the introverts think that some of this stuff is gonna be more difficult for them, but it sounds like they might actually excel in this a little
Yes.
bit more than somebody like me, because I don't know that I listen as much as I should sometimes. I think I love. I always had talks too much in class on my report card, which I think overall has served me well in my entire life. But there are times when I think I need to listen. I need to listen more. So I think that's great. This conversation has been amazing. Let me check the comments really fast. There are so many great comments. So many people are saying thank you. They completely agree about the importance of showcasing their thought leadership. As somebody said, Louise said, anger is stored in the hips. She's a yoga teacher. She would know.
There you
Thanks,
go.
Louise, for that. Maybe
Okay,
Louise
so it's anger,
anger is stored in the
apparently.
hips. Yeah. So we're all walking around really angry. That's the problem. I bet Louise could help us out with some exercises for that.
Amazing.
Tell us, you've got an amazing free resource for everybody. Do you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, actually, so this is another way to get to your thought leadership is create content.
Yes.
So like whether it's through interviews like this, like I
Mhm.
can't tell you how many bits of my own thought leadership came out when I was being interviewed. And then I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I didn't know I thought that, but
Right.
there's a truth to it, right? So
Yep.
write newsletters, write social content, do live
Mhm.
videos, do interviews. And for the introverts out there, the undersharers, don't
Mhm.
do it to get likes and to get seen and to get clients and to get
Right.
audiences. Do it purely to evolve your own thinking and comfort with
Mhm.
your thought leadership.
Yep.
And that'll just be game changing for you. And so,
Right.
one of the keys to kind of tapping into your thought leadership and also being able to express it is through your stories. And so the free
Mhm.
resource that I have is a story workbook. It's called Share Worthy Stories.
Mhm.
And it walks you through different stories in the three areas of your brand. So the meaning, the value, and the originality building
Mhm.
brand stories for you. And so it's
Nice.
a very extensive, like goes really deep, digs up, helps you dig up so many stories that you could be playing with
Mhm.
to put out into your content, but really use that story writing to practice stepping into your role as a thought leader.
I love it. Jill's going to pop the link to that in the chat. It's and for those that are listening on the podcast, it's realizeyourbrand.com/stories hyphen handbook. And I'm really excited about it because you're going to help people develop those sticky brand centered stories. And that's how they become, as we mentioned at the beginning, how to become the go-to expert in your space. It's through those stories that you're talking about and giving your point of view and establishing what your thought leadership is for your brand. Lisa, this has been tremendous. Where can everybody find you to connect with you?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm starting to use that more and more now.
Yes,
And Facebook and Instagram, I'm Lisa Haggis personally. And then you can also find me at realizeyourbrand.com to book a free consult with me
I
if
love
you
it.
want the help digging into your own point of view and having an outsider perspective come
I
into
love it.
your world.
Yeah, I love it. There's I will always have a mentor or a coach by my side for that reason, like we talked about. It's really hard to see your own stuff. And we were just talking about this in the alumni membership, the alumni mastermind this morning, for Business Visibility Made Easy, because one of our clients is working through her sales page for her offer. And I think a lot of times we forget what it's like to be at the beginning of something because we do have so many years of expertise. And so that's where having somebody like you to walk alongside us so that you can point out, okay, that's your thought leader. Okay, that's your point of view. That's your best stuff right there. And we're all sitting there going, really? That's amazing. And somebody like you who has the expertise can say, yeah, that is amazing. That's what you're supposed to run with. I love it.
Amazing. This has
I
just
love it.
been the most fun.
Oh, good. I'm so glad to have you. So, okay, my friends, I've got some fun news for you also. First of all, let me dial it back for a second. I want you to go grab Lisa's freebie. I want you to go check out her website, and I want you to consider everything she's taught us today. And then if you need a little bit extra help, reach out to her because she is an amazing person. But I've got some fun news for you too. You guys know that I'm an affiliate for Amy Porterfield's Digital Course Academy. And if you've followed me for any length of time, you know that she is the mentor that back in the fall of 2021 taught me everything I know about creating and launching a profitable being the key, digital course. And it's through her Digital Course Academy program that I was able to successfully create and launch Business Visibility Made Easy. Now, the doors to Digital Course Academy are only open once a year. The doors are open now. Here's the fun surprise. When you purchase your seat in Digital Course Academy through me and my unique affiliate link, you get a free seat in the first round of Business Visibility Made Easy in 2025. That is a $997 value. It's like getting two great programs for the price of one. Digital Course Academy is going to teach you how to create and launch profitably your next digital course or program. I'm going to come alongside you at the first round. We're going to kick off 2025 together, teaching you visibility and list growth strategies without paid ads, without creating more lead magnets. And we are going to have you going like gangbusters into 2025. It's going to be so exciting. So get DCA through me. You get a free seat in Business Visibility Made Easy, and you're going to be shot out like a rocket, just right out of NASA. So if you're interested in that offer, I want you to go to tracybeavers.com/DCA 2024 to grab it. And don't wait. If you've got questions about the program, DM me or email me, but don't wait because DCA closes on September 26th and it's not going to reopen until September of 2025. So if you have a digital course on your mind, you need to make this investment and jump in. We have two fun additions to Business Visibility Made Easy that I wanted to share with you also. In case you already have your digital course or you've been through Digital Course Academy and you're looking for visibility and list growth before the end of the year, my program is going to reopen in 8 days. We're going to start promotion for it. We have two fun additions to the program that I'm really excited about. My assistant, Jill, that I talk about all the time, she is an expert in Canva, content creation, Facebook group content and engagement, the Meta Business Suite, Instagram, and so many other things. She's going to be in the program with us to lend her expertise. My business bestie, Shannon Gaither, is a master when it comes to tech. She's a genius when it comes to picking the right tech platforms for you. She can shave time from your weekly tasks and help you create systems for organization. So not only is she can help you figure out your tech stack on a budget, but she can help you create systems to organize yourself so you get more work done in less time. She's going to be available to you with her expertise as well. So if you're serious about being seen, heard, and hired in this online space, you need visibility and you need fresh strategies for it. And with a coach like me to guide you on how to make that lead to your email list growth every single day, then your list building is going to start happening automatically in the background of your business, just like it does for me and all of my alums that have been through Business Visibility Made Easy. Hop on the wait list. Waitlisters get VIP offers. I'll give you a little hint. It's got some one-to-one time with me. Get on the wait list, tracybeavers.com/BVME. All right, I'm going to go over and check the comments and the questions one more time. They were a little slow coming through. All right, I don't see any questions for us, but if you're coming to us on replay and you have a question, go ahead and throw it into the comments and I will find Lisa or tag Lisa and we will swoop in and answer it for you. I want you guys to be here live with me every Thursday at 11:30 Central. Put it on your calendar, set a phone alarm. Remember, I say this every single week, don't go it alone. Being an entrepreneur is freaking hard. Some days everybody wants to buy what you're selling and other days nobody can remember your name, or at least it feels like it. And it's just crickets. And if you think you're alone feeling that way, you are not. Get into a community of support where other people are doing exactly what you're doing and work side by side together. Lisa, thank you again so much for being here. Is there anything you want to share really quick before we go?
Oh gosh, I was just mesmerized by how amazing your program sounds and how the tech alone, the tech support alone makes it worth it.
Yeah.
I think just, I know that there's a whole mindset component to what we talked about today that we
Yes.
didn't really even touch, like the
Mhm.
imposter syndrome,
Oh,
the fear of putting yourself out there. I just want to acknowledge it, and I want to
yeah. Mhm.
acknowledge everybody. One of the things that I said to some of my clients recently is like, you've already chosen to live a life beyond what most people will ever dare to step into as an entrepreneur.
I
Why
love
not
it.
take it all the way?
Say that one more time because that's powerful.
I said, as an entrepreneur, you've already chosen to live a life that is beyond what most people will ever dare to choose for themselves.
Yep.
And so why not take it all the way?
Okay. Mic drop. Mic drop. I'm just going to exit stage right and let you all that was amazing. Jill, I know you're listening. Let's create a quote graphic for Lisa. We're going to use that in our social media. We're going to tag Lisa on it because the world needs to hear that. That is so true. That's wonderful. Everybody have a great balance of the week and weekend. Remember, when one of us rises, we all rise. So we have got to keep cheering each other on. And I will see all of you next week. Lisa, thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome.